two key moments that both had like, they were like crossroads for me and completely changed the direction of my life in good ways, not always easy ways, but in good ways. And the first one was when I was 21 years old. I'd been living in Java for a year and going to university, and at the end of that year I got really sick, and it turns out that I had leukemia. So, you know, as you can imagine, that was a scary time, uncomfortable, painful, but I got better, and I'm still here, and it forced me to start to, well, one, to see the temporariness of life and how precious it is. And then I also had a mentor at that time who started to help me be able to connect with my inner voice and ask myself questions about what's really important to me, be able to ask that inner voice for guidance and clarity. And it was just the combination of being able to tune in and start to connect with my purpose and who I really am, with the, you know, the temporariness of life, of not knowing if I'm going to be around in 2 months or 6 months or a year. That kind of like, holy shit, this now is the moment, you know, and the people that I'm with right here, these are the people, now is the time. That was really powerful, and woke something up in me that it's never, you know, it's never gone back to sleep. Like, it's kind of hard sometimes for, I don't know if it's for me to relate to people or to just live a normal life like most people live, that's really structured and planned and predictable, and it's never been how I've operated. And the other big turning point in my life was when I finally got up the courage to run my first retreat. So after I'd had leukemia, there was this seed of a vision that had been planted in me that was to run a spiritual surf trip. That's the best way I knew how to describe it. Sounded kind of cheesy to me, but that's what I knew I wanted, like this element of doing deep personal inner work with people, combined with surfing and, you know, a beautiful tropical island and play and lightness, and helping people, you know, become kids again as well. And so it was actually 13 years from when I had leukemia. You know, I lived not a normal life, but I lived a more normal life, where I got married and had 2 kids and lived in Australia, and, you know, had different jobs. But I knew that I had something more inside of me. I knew I had more to offer. I knew that I could be way happier. I knew I could be more fulfilled. I just had this sense that work was supposed to be something that was, you know, really contributing and making a difference for people, and that we enjoyed. So, and just in having jobs, to have a job to make money is like torture for me. It's always been torture, and I would like put up with it for a little while, and then just, I couldn't stand it anymore. I'd quit and not be very financially responsible with that, but there was just something in my heart that was like, Rick, you are designed for more than this. So I finally, one day, got so mad at myself for not having at least tried, you know, to put together a trip or a retreat. And I couldn't stand myself anymore. So I created something, and, you know, sat down with a pen and paper and kind of made an outline of it and where it could be and dates and stuff, and put it out there. And it kind of went through a little bit of a morph period with the feedback of one of my friends, who said, you should do this retreat for young adult cancer survivors. And at first I was like, no, I'm not sure. And as I thought about it, I thought, that would be perfect, because that's a group that I knew that I could help, because I'd been there, I knew what it was like, and I'd come out the other side better for it. So I put out this retreat and ran it, and there were 5 people that flew in from around Australia, and it was magic. And it was like life was supporting us, and, you know, just synchronicities and beautiful experiences with nature and with other people and within the group was just this reinforcement of like, yes, Rick, yes, you're on the right path, keep going. It was like riding a wave, where it's like carrying you forward. And it was scary because every time we sat down was a new experience, something that I'd never done before. And it worked. And, since that time, I got so much confirmation from life that this was what I was here to do, and it actually was something that helped people. It wasn't just selling them something or even just teaching them to surf, which is a beautiful thing. And I ran surf camps. So my wife and I had a surf camp in Mexico. That was a beautiful experience for people, camping out in nature, and people would come with their families, and it was a beautiful bonding time with their families, with nature. And still inside of me was like, Rick, you have more to offer than this. Like, there's deeper work that you're here to facilitate or help people with. So even that felt kind of torturous, even such a beautiful experience, because I knew I wasn't rising up and doing the thing, that main thing that I was here to do. So this first retreat gave me the experience of, for the first time in my life, fulfilling my purpose, that the single main thing that I was here to do. And that became my new standard for my life. And I did a few of those retreats and then moved to Bali about a year or two later and turned it into my business, my livelihood. And like I said, I've done 44 retreats so far. So experiencing that first retreat was a huge turning point for me.